Good afternoon, this is BremSter, and today I'm going to be attempting a puzzle that every one of my testers said I should skip. This one has been in my queue possibly close to a year because every one of my testers said I should skip it. But it's been bugging me that I really want to try this, partly because of one of the rules in the puzzle. So I'm going to skip all other preamble and get straight onto the puzzle so we can talk about as to why. So this is Conference of Physics by Philipp Blume, also known as Glum Hippo. This puzzle uses, he says, Psychic Look-and-Say, which seems to be based on the Psycho constraint that I created. He's calling it Psychic. It was originally called Psycho. I made a series of puzzles using the Psycho Killer constraint. There were some puzzles made using Psycho Look-and-Say constraints, and this is one of them. This is also using another constraint that I haven't done a lot, and I'm not that familiar with the logic. And the Psycho constraint also tends to be quite mind-bendy, even for me. I have not solved or even attempted to set a Psycho puzzle in probably 18 months. So this could be a real challenge. So let's have a look at Conference of Physics. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. In every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. Now, I don't like walls of text above me like this, but I couldn't think of a better way of doing it. Rossini. Arrow symbols along the edge mean a strictly increasing or decreasing sequence in the first 3 digits. Think of it like a 3-cell thermo in the direction of the arrow. The negative constraint applies as well. If no symbol is shown, then the middle digit must be the highest or lowest. So, what an arrow here means is the digits must be strictly increasing in this order. So this digit will be lower than this, which will be lower than this. There'll be a thermo in this direction. In here, the thermo will be in this direction. In these cells, you cannot have a valid thermo in either direction. Same here, same here. So these will be thermos in the direction of the arrow. This will be a thermo, low, mid, high, low, mid, high. This cannot have a low, mid, high thermo valid in either direction. And the same is true in all of these. Doesn't apply once you get out of the first 3 cells. Psychic Look-and-Say. Imagine replacing each digit n in pink cages with whatever digit occupies the same relative position in box n. Boxes are counted from left to right, row by row. So, for example, if this was a 4, then the digit in the same position in box 4, let's say that is a 6, this digit would actually be counted as a 6. The value of that digit would be 6, even though that's a 4, because it's inheriting the value of the digit that is in the same relative position in the box that that digit is. This is a rule set. That's the Psycho constraint. Now, I'm not getting onto anything else, but that's how Psycho works. Similarly, if this was a 9 and this was a 6, then this would have a value of 9 because it's inheriting the digit in the same value and the digit in the box in the same relative position. It inherits that one. So if this was a 3 and this was a 1, this cell would have a value of 1 because it's inheriting the 1 value from box 3. Because the 1 in this digit in the same relative position in box 3 is the digit it inherits. If this was a 7 and this was a 9, then this would have a value of 7 because it's inheriting the value of the digit in the same relative position in the box that that digit is. This constraint, I literally got a response from when I submitted the original Psycho puzzles to Cracking the Cryptid saying it's too complex for their channel. But that's how Psycho works. Anyway, the number in the top left corner should be read not as a sum, but as a Look-and-Say number, which tells the exact number of times a digit appears in the newly populated cage. E.g., a 2-3 cage means there are exactly 2 3s in the Psychic version of the cage. So, for example, if there was a 2-3 cage, then there must be 2 3s that are referred to by the Psychic digits. Digits may repeat within a cage unless prohibited by Sudoku rules. That's different to Psycho. In Psycho, digits cannot repeat within a cage, but the inherited values might. So digits may repeat within a cage. Every one of my testers said that this is too hard. I want to give it a try though. I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. Now, I can see this has to point at 4 8s and this has to point at 5 8s. And I think they all have to be different. So this, because this is going to point to the 8 in the central position of the puzzle. This is going to point at the 8 in this position of the puzzle. This is going to point at the 8 in this position of the puzzle. This is going to point at the 8 in the bottom right position. These, however, are pointing at so this is pointing at position 5, position 6, position 8, position 9. This is pointing at position 7, position 3, position 1, position 2, and position 4. So all of the 8s are pointed to by these cells. So that is a set of the digits 1 through 9. I can see that immediately. I have no idea how I use that. I can't put the 9 in here, and I can't put the 1 in here. Because if I put the 1 in here, it'd be referring to itself, not an 8. So there's no 1. The 1 in this box is in here, and the 9 in this box is in here. Well, that's unhelpful. Similarly, I mean, this might help, but there's no 1 in here. A 2 in here. So it's got to be the Rossini that's going to power this, but I can't see how. I mean, this is at least a 3, because 1, 2, 3. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It can't be a 6 or it'd be self-referential. So this is pointing to an 8. Here, 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 or here. No, not here. One of those. But once... Well, where can the 8 go? The 8 can't be here, because that would put the 8 here or here. There is some restriction. Yeah, I can't repeat digits in these. I could repeat digit in there. Because these are pointing to 8s in different positions of the grid. So it's got to be Rossini. So these can't be 1. So 1 is in one of those two. Because I can't put 1 in these either because of this Rossini. 1 is in one of those two because I can't put 1 in here. So the 8 is either here or here. There's an 8 in one of those two. Which means the 8 isn't here. The 8 is in one of these. Because the 8 must be pointed to by one of these ones. And this one is there and this one is there. And there must be an 8 in one of those 4 cells. The 8 here would point to here. So the 8 in this... The 8 is going to have to point to the 8 in box 8, which is either here, 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 or here. The 8 is in one of those. The 8 can't be here because it would point to here. So those aren't. And the 8 can't be in here because it would point to here. And the 8 can't be here. It would point to here. First digits. Those are 8s. Because if 8 can't be in this box because of the one that has to be in here because of the Rossini. And I can't put 1 in here. And I have to put 1 in one of these. So 8 can't go in this box. But I need to put 8 in one of these. Can't put 8 here. Oh, no, I got that wrong. 8, let's do this again. 8 is in one of these 5. Now, if 8 was here, it'd put 8 here as well. That doesn't work. If 8 was here, it'd put 8 here. That doesn't work. And 8 here would put 8 here. That doesn't work. But 8 could be a self-referential 8 there. Oh, this 1. This 1 makes that the 1. So that makes this the 8. That 1 is incredibly powerful. So now these have had a minimum increase, because this can't be a 1 anymore. Oh, this could never have been a 1. 2, 3. If this, I can't put a 9 in this box. I can't put a 9 in this box, because then I'd be pointing to itself and it's not pointing at an 8. And I can't put the 9 there. The 9 is in one of those. Now I can't put, no, I could put the 9 in any of those. But that means this is maximum, this can't be an 8. So it's maximum 7, maximum 6, maximum 5. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, 6, 7. One of these is an 8. An 8 here would put an 8 here. Eight here is self-referential. There is a 9 in here, which is pointing to an 8 in one of those. This is Twixy. And I've got to remember that I can't have, this is higher than this. Because if this was lower than this, I'd have a Rossini arrow pointing downwards. Similarly along here. If this is an 8, this would have to be a 9 to prevent this being in order. 8, 9 would put 9 in one of those two and 8. Hang on. No, what am I talking about? That's fine. So 3, 4, 5, 6. This can't be a 3, can it? No, it can. 3 would put 8 there and 8 there. 4 would put 8 there. So the 8 is in one of those. If this is a 6, that's an 8. And that's an 8. But if this is a 4 or 5, the 8 is in one of those two, and then this could be the 8 again, making that the 8. Ooh, no. If this is a 5, that can't be an 8. Because if this is a 5, if this is a 3, that's an 8, and that's an 8. If this is a 4, that's an 8. Holy cow. No. If this is a 3, that's an 8, and that becomes an 8. If this is a 4, that's an 8, and that could be an 8. If this is a 5, that's an 8, and either could be an 8. If this is a 6, that's an 8. So if this is a 4 or 5, in order for that to be able to be an 8. I'm not understanding the Rossini well enough, am I? So I do know 9 is in this cage. There is a 2 in this cage, because I can't put 2 here, because a 2 here would point to an 8 here, and that doesn't work. There's no 2 in this cage. So the 2 is in here with the 9, which means there's an 8 in one of those. So if this is a 9, that would have to be an 8. That doesn't work. Yeah, if that's a 9, that's an 8. That doesn't work. That's a maximum of 5. That can't be a 9. If that's an 8, that's an 8. There'll be a Rossini trick I don't fully follow. Like, 2 and 9 are in here. Can I force any other digits into that? If this is an 8, 8 is in there, 2 is in there. I don't see how I can use that yet. 4, 5, 6, or 7. 4, 5, 6, or 7. Six in this box would put 8 in one of those and force that to be an 8. Does that work? It would then put 8 in one of those two, which would make that or that a 3. Now, if that's a 3, it's 3, 2, 1. If that's a 3, that's a 2. Trying to see Rossini tricks that I'm not comprehending. So this, yeah, so the 9 is definitely in here. Is there another digit I can force into or out of one of these 8 cages? Remember, they're a complete set of 1 to 9. And 8. So these are from 2, must contain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If 7 was in here, it'd have to be in one of those two because I can't put 8 down here. 7 can only go in those cells. No, 7 can't go here. 7 here. No, 7 could do that. With, yeah, 8's being in those. 7 here would put 8 here and 8 here and here. 7 here. 7 here would put 8 here and then... No, 7 can't be here. 7 here... Oh, no, would put 8 here and then that would be 8. It's a Rossini trick. It has to be. And I'm not getting it. I suspect it's in box 1 or box 9, and I'm not getting it. So what can I tell about the Rossini? If this was 4-3, it would be 8. Sorry, it would be 8-8. That's fine. 6-7 would be 8. No, this can't be a 6. If this is a 6, then it would be 6-7 in order for the Rossini to work. 6-7, the 6 here would put an 8 here, and the 7 here would put an 8 here, and then I can't put 8 in this box. This can't be a 6, so this can't be a 5. But that doesn't stop that being a 7. It just stops this being 6-7. So this is now 3, 4, or 5 only. So the 8s can only go there. This is only pointing at 4, 5, 6, or 7. So 8s could only go there. This is pointing at a lot. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. It's pointing at all of those. This is pointed at that, so we've got that locked in. This... So... This can never be 4 or 7. So the 4 and the 7 in this box can never go here, because if it was a 4, it'd put an 8 down here. If it was a 7, it'd put it down here. So there's no 4 or 7 in here. There's no 1. So 2, 3 can't be 4. 5, 6 can't be... So 2, 3, 5, 6, 9. So 2, 3, 5, 6, 9. Which isn't that helpful, is it? These are less restricted because I can include 4 and 7. Because 8s can go here. Because this one, 3... Sorry, I've already done that. What about this one? It can't be 2 because 2 must be up here. I'm now starting to second guess myself. If that's 2, yeah, that's 8. That doesn't work. So this can't be a low digit because it would put the here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It can't be 9 because it would put 8. Because the 9 has to go in this cage. Because if I don't put the 9, if this was 9, 8. So if this was, 9, 8. Did I get that wrong? Why did I put the force the 9 in here? Why did I force the 9 in there? 9 couldn't go in any of those, in any of these. 9 here. Would put 8 there, and that doesn't work. 9 here would put 8 here. And what's wrong with that? Because you'd have 9, 8, 8, 8. Those would be 8s. Something. No, 8 has to be self-referential. 8 always has to be self-referential. If this is an 8, what points at this? If this was an 8, what points at that 8? I would need a 6 in a cage pointing at that cell, and I don't have it. 8 is always self-referential. That can never be the 9, because 8 must be self-referential to get it down there. I was correct, but for the wrong reason. So this is an 8. So this isn't an 8. So if this isn't an 8, that isn't a 7. So this is a maximum 4. This is a maximum 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. This is only 3, 4, or 5. That can never be an 8. That can never be an 8. That can't be a 7 anymore, because 7 would make that an 8. That's not a 7. Seven is in here somewhere. I'm getting rid of all of my colouring because I've confused myself with it. But 8 needed to be self-referential. 7 is now in here because I can't put 7 in any of those. So, whoops, no, don't get rid of the corner marks. That's the wrong thing to get rid of. 7 is now in here. So that means 8 is in one of those 4. If this is a 6, That is an 8. There's no 8 in one of those. There's no 2 in one of those. Okay. Now, 8 had to be self-referential. I completely missed that. Right. So 8 is down here, pointed at by one of these. 8 is down here, pointed at by one of these. 8 is in one of those two, pointed at by one of those two. In this box, 8 is in one of those. And it can be pointed out by any of those. So what cells are available here? That cell is not available because that is a 1. That's there. Because 8 is basically disjoint in this puzzle. Right, 8 is disjoint in this puzzle. Eight is disjoint in this puzzle. This is so freaky. Well, hang on. 8 isn't in either of those two. 8 is in one of these three. Now, if this was an 8, is that going to cause a problem? Because if that's an 8, that's a 5. No, it's not. It doesn't mean that at all. Because I only need to point at 2 5s. So that doesn't mean that at all. But if that's an 8, that's a 5. There's a 7 down here, but I don't see how to use that yet. So 8 in this box. 6 can't be in either of those two. So what can point to the 8 in box 6? Let's highlight all of those. It can't be here because of the disjoint. It can't be here because of the disjoint. This can't point to an 8. That would be from there. Those two would be from those two. So 6 is in one of those three. One of these has to be a 5 because they're the only places I can put the 8 and they're the only places in this column that I can place them. So 8 is in one of those two. 2 is in one of those. 6 is in one of these two or there. Oh, if I could remove 6 from there. 6, 8 would put 8 in one of those two. We should just make one of those two a 5. This has to increase. So that can't be an 8. 8, what? That's not an 8. So if that's not an 8, that is not a 6. So that is not a 5. That is not a 4. That removes the 6. 6. This is 2, 6, 7, 9. And the 6 has to be in one of those two. 2, 6, 7, 9. Those are the only options. And this is 3, 4, 5. That is a 2. That is 3, 4, 5. Which means in box 3, the 8 is in one of those two. In box 4, the 8 is in one of those 3, but the 6 says 8 isn't in one of those 2. So that can't be a 4 because that can't be an 8. That's the 3. This is a 4-5 pair, except, yeah, that works. 8 is in one of those 2. Oh, this is neat. This is 4-5 pointing at those. And the 7 and the 9, I don't see how to resolve those across those digits. No, there's no 8 in those 2. So the 7 isn't there. But that is still wide open. That's so cool. That is amazingly cool. So now I need to come up with some Rossini tricks. I really do. This has to be the 9, because remember, if this was anything other than a 9, the Rossini is correct. So there's no 9 in those. Nine is, oh no, it's in one of those. If this is 6, this would be 7 or 9. What would that be? Because these are 1, 3, 4, 5. If this is 6, this is lower, and that would be higher. That's not the 6. That's a 7-9 pair. That's the 2. That's the 6. The 2 here makes that the 8. That's not the 8. That's the 8. That's not the 8. The 6 here makes that the 8. That's not the 8. There's no 8 in here, which matches for the 7-9. But this 8 is being pointed at, by that 3, which I already had. Blast it. But this is in order, 7 and 9. So that's the 8. That's the 8. There's no 8 there. There's no 8 there. 1, 2, 3. So now I need to get these. But this is outside the Rossini trick. This can't be a valid Rossini. This can't be a valid Rossini. So if this was anything other than a 9, it can't be a 1. This has to be a 1 or a 9. If this was a 3, that would be valid. 4, that would be valid. This has to be the 9. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, this is stupendously weird. 9 is in one of these 2. Now this is correct. Oh no, I've broken the puzzle. This is so hard. But this was correct. This has to be in order. So this is 7, this is 9. The 7 makes that the 8, which means that's not the 8, which makes that the 8, that's not the 8. Which means that's not the 8, that's the 8. This is the 6. This is the 2, but that is now a valid Rossini. I've broken the puzzle. If I check this, it's wrong. Blast! I'm correct here, though. This has to be 2, 6, 7, 9. This 3 makes this the 8, which makes this the 8, which makes this the 2. This has to be the 9, though. So this has to be the 6. This has to be the 7. And now this is... Oh, this is... Oh, this is in order. I should have used that 3 earlier. That would have got me there without doing the incorrect Rossini here, because these are 1, 3, 4, 5. That is a valid Rossini. This isn't a valid Rossini, so that's not a 1. I got that wrong. But this 6 makes this the 8. This isn't the 8. This 9 makes this the 8. These are not the 8. The 7 here makes this the 8. This is not the 8. And what I don't have is this 4 and 5. And this will now be correct. If I check, this is now correct. Right. Sorry, Rossini is a weak point of mine. So, this quadruple, 1, 6, 7, and 9. Now, there's no 7 there. That doesn't look like the place to have gone, does it? Sorry, I meant to remove the 8 pencil mark from here. I'm finding this tricky. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. That's not the place to look. I'm going to remove those. I don't have as much progress as I thought I did. So this can't be a 9 because this has to increase like a thermo. 7, 8, 9 doesn't work because of that. This is a 1 or a 6. 6, 7, 9 would make that a 9. This is a 6. It's 6, 7, 9. Neither of these can be a 9. If either of those was a 9, 9, 8 and something lower, 9, 8 something lower, neither of those can be a 9. So that's a 1, 6 pair. That's a 7. That's the 9. That's cool. Put 7 in one of those. Ah. This is where my advanced Sudoku and Rossini knowledge fall down. Though I've still got this 2, 5 to use, though I don't think I'm near using that yet. I've been okay at the psychic stuff. I haven't been good at the Rossini stuff. One is in one of these. This has to increase. So this is maximum 6, maximum 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this has to increase, which hasn't told me anything really. I can't put the 9 in any of those cells. So the 9 is in, well, the 9 is in one of these two, because I can't put the 9 here. And I can't put the 9 here because this has to increase towards a 7. So the 9 is in one of those two. So the 9 is up here. These are all from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the 9 is up here. Is it which of these digits can point at a 5? That, well, until you start getting restrictions, I can tell you right now, there's very little that you can do with these until you start getting... If this is an 8... If this isn't... Oh, no, it doesn't force it. If this is an 8, it doesn't force that to be a 5. If this is a 5, that's an 8, which can't point at a 5. But I only need to point at 2 5s. And it's not hard to point at 5s with multiple digits. Like, I could have both of those point at 5s across different columns. So it's something about Rossini. Well, that's not a 9, or the Rossini works. 9 is in here. So that's not the 9. That's the 9. 4, 5, 6, 7. This isn't the 9, or that Rossini works. If this was a 9, this Rossini would work. So this is the 9. And these are all 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if this was a 4, this would automatically be higher. That doesn't work. If this was a 7, this would automatically be lower. That doesn't work. If this is a 4, this would automatically be higher. That doesn't work. If that was a 7, that would automatically be lower. That doesn't work. That's a 4, 5, 6 triple. That's the 7. 6 is in here. Wow. Okay, Rossini is way more powerful than I thought. If this is a 6, this is a 5. That doesn't become a 6. This is the 6. This is a 4, 5 pair. Rossini is way more powerful than I thought. Rossini is way more powerful than I thought. This can't be 6. Because if this is a 6, these would have to increase. 6, 7, and what? That's a 1. That's a 6. This isn't a 1, so this isn't a 2. Six and 7. 6 is in one of those two. 7 is right there by Sudoku. So this is 1, 6. Hang on, I got a problem. No, it's not 1. I don't have to put a 1 in here. I have to put a 1 in one of those. So this is whichever digit isn't in here and a 6. But that can't be a 6. If that was a 6, 1, 6... Oh, no, that can be a 6. That's perfectly fine. That is a valid tally. So, in fact, yeah, that just works, as does that. So these are... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what they are. And I don't see how to make that not work. This can't be a 2. If that was a 2, this would have to be not between 2 and 9. And that doesn't work because, yeah, these are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this can't be a 2. Because if this is a 2, this would be 3, 4, 5, 6. That doesn't work. This can't be a 6, or this would be lower than it. And that doesn't work. So where's 6 in this box? That's the 6. What? Wait, no, hang on a minute. I've just broken something. 6 is in here, so this isn't a 6. 6 is in one of those. 6 is... Wait, no, 6 is already in the box. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is already in the box. What am I doing? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no 6 here. Now, there's no Rossini in this direction, but there is here. Sorry, wow, this is tricky. Now, if this was a 5, this would automatically be lower. If this is 2, this would automatically be higher. 7, this does increase. This can't be a 5. If this was a 1, this can't be a 1. If this was a 1, actually, if this is a 1, we're broken. Right, where's the 1 in one of these? If this is a 1, it'd go 1, 3, 4, 5, and then 7, which it can do. Can't do it here. This can't be a 1. So 1 is in one of those two. This can't be a 1 because you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and that would be valid Rossini without a marker. But this can't be a 1 because it has to increase in that direction. This is just the 1. And these are 2, 3, 4, 5. Except this has to be a valid thermo. So that can't be a 5 and that can't be a 2. But this can't be a valid one. So if this was a 2, this would be a 3 or 4. That's not a 2. So that's not a 3. That can't be a 4. Because then this would be 3, 4, 8, and that would be valid. This has to be lower than this. Wow, this is so powerful. That's a 4, 5 pair. So that's the 3, that's the 2. Taking 2 out of those. This is a 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 2. This is a 4, 5 pair. And that's all good. This is so powerful. The 1 takes 1 out of those, so this is the 1. This is a 3, 4, 5 triple, so the 3 can't be there. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. These are 2, 6, and 9. These, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and these are 1 and 3. So this could point to a 5 there, but it doesn't have to. 3 can't point to a 5, but 1 can. Oh, the 1 makes that the 3 and that the 1. So 1 is in one of those two. This Rossini is ridiculously powerful. The 9 comes out of here, but it only works in these edge boxes. So let's put this quadruple in. 3, 4, 5, 9. Well, there's no 9 in here. So there's a 9 in one of those two. It's not there. This is a 9 in the corner. These are 3, 4, 5. Can I do anything with that? This is a really interesting Rossini puzzle at this point. Do I colour these 4s and 5s? Right. This is one type of 4, 5. This is the yellow 4, 5. This is the blue. This is the yellow 4, 5. This is the yellow 4, 5. This is pointing to the 8 in one of these two. So if this is a 5, that's an 8. If this is a 4, that's an 8. I'm not sure what that's doing. There is a Rossini increase along here. There's a 2 in here. There's a 6 in here. There's a 7 in here. That can't be a 7. And that, hang on, if this was a 7, this would be lower than 7. Oh no, I can do Rossini in these directions. I can't do Rossini in these directions. I'm getting bogged down in how Rossini works. So I need to get some information on Rossini in these boxes. I'm not sure how to do that, you know. It's got. Is it up here? This can't be a 2. Because if this was a 2, it'd be 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. That would work. This can't. Oh, this could be a 7. Six. It all looks possible to break here. If this was a 6, that would be 4 or 5. That would be 2. That could be anything. That would be 9. This can't be a 9. That can't be a 9. This is the 9. Because if this is a 9, it'd be 1, 4, 5, 7, 9. That would be a valid Rossini. That is the 9, which puts 9. This is an 8-9 pair. 9 is in one of those two, by the way. By Sudoku. This is pointing either here or here. If this is a 2, no, that's valid. That's not valid. And that's... If this is a 6, that's a 7. Because 6, 5, 4, 1 is valid. So if this is a 6, this is a 7. And then everything's fine. I'm not sure what to do with that. This isn't a 1. Because of that. 2 is in one of these. I get the feeling it's my Sudoku that's failing me. I mean, I was told this was diabolical. But is it this box now? I don't see how. There's too many options. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This has to increase. This is a maximum 7, maximum 6, maximum 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. How is any of that not valid? I'm not learning the Rossini tricks, am I? If this is a 4, both of those are 8s. If this is a 5, both of those are 8s. Interestingly enough, only one of those can point at a 5. If this is a 5, that's an 8, and that's a 4, which means that's not pointing at a 5. If this is a 5, that's an 8, which is pointing back at a 5. So if this is a 4, hang on, if this is a 5, that's an 8 pointing at a 5. If this is a 4, this is a 5, this is a 5, and that's pointing at a 5. One of those is always pointing at a 5, but only one of them. So one of these needs to point at a 5. One of those needs to point at a 5. That can point at a 5 in... Can't point at a 5 here. Can't point at a 5 here. Can't point at a 5 in itself. So a 4 wouldn't make it a 5. A 5 wouldn't make it a 5. A 6 wouldn't make it a 5. Can't be a 7. An 8 wouldn't make it a 5. A 9 wouldn't make it a 5. That can never point at a 5. So 1, it can't be a 1. It can't be a 6 or a 7. It can't be an 8. A 2 wouldn't make it a 5. A 3 wouldn't make it a 5. A 4 would make it a 4. A 5 would need them both of them to be 5s. Doesn't work. So a 5 wouldn't make it a 5. A 9 wouldn't make it a 5. That can't point at a 5. This needs to point at a 5. So a 2 could make it a 5. A 3 can't. A 5 wouldn't make it a 5. A 4 wouldn't make it a 5. A 6 wouldn't make it a 5. It can't be a 7. An 8 wouldn't make it a 5. So this is 2 or 9. And it can't be a 9. That's a 2. And it must point at a 5. That is bonkers. Yeah, that can't be a 2. That can't be a 2. That is 2 pointing at a 5. Does that resolve the other? I was hoping it would, you know, but it doesn't seem to. I mean, that was gorgeous, but it doesn't... Well, it makes that a 2. Which puts 2 in one of those 2. And 2 in one of those 2. Is it these? So 7 is in one of these 3. It's not here. So 7 is in one of these 2. Well, 7 is in one of these 2 as well. And one of those 4. But 7 here, oh, that works. But 7 here, this would just have to be lower than 7, which it would automatically be. But... You know, I was hoping this would resolve one way or the other. This, if this is a 4, this is an 8, this is a 9. Hang on, but that one would then point to a 5, and we're good. If this is a 5, this is an 8, which is pointing back at the 5, and we're good. 1 is in one of those three. Okay. I found that too, and I thought it would do more. It's the Rossini that's tripping me up. Oh, that's a 2. This being a 5, I can't go 3, 5, 6. It would be valid. That's the 2, that's the 6. 1, 4, 6 would be wrong. That's the 7, that's the 4. Not valid in any order. The 4 takes 4 out of there. This is a known triple now. Well, the 2 takes 2 out of there, makes that the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. There's no 7 there. So this triple, 1, 3, 5. There's no 1 there. This is a 1, 3, 5 triple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no 2 there. That's the 2. This is actually a 6, 7. So this is 3, 4, 5. And there's no 3 there. So 3 is in one of those two. That's not a 3. So this Rossini has to be broken. And whether this is a 3 or a 5, if this went 6, 7, it'd be valid. So this is 7, 6. So there's no 6 in either of those. That's a 3, 4, 5 triple. There is a 3 in one of those. There's no 4 or 5 there. That's the 7. This isn't the 7. There is a 3 in one of those. If this was the 3, it would 3... Oh, hang on. If this can't be the 3, because this is a valid order of Rossini. So this is 3, 4, 5. This is the yellow 4, 5. I'm not sure if this is helping me, but these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 and 6. And the 6 is looking down, making that the 1 and that the 6. The 1 is in one of those two. I am terrible at the Rossini, and I apologise for that, Mr. Hippo. The yellow is in one of these two. This is a triple. 1, 3, 7. That's the 3. This is the 1, 7, because of the 1, 7 looking across. This isn't a 3 now. This isn't a 3. This 3 looks up saying that's not the 3. The 4, 5 pair makes that the 3. This is the blue 4, 5. So blue 4, 5 is down here. But this is only 4, 5 or 9. And it sees both yellow and blue. That's the 9. This is not the 9. Which means this is the 8. This is the 9. This is the 8. This is not the 8. But these need to be pointed to by these 4s and 5s. So yellow becomes 4 and blue, no, other way around. This has to be pointed to, which is there. So yellow becomes 5 and blue becomes 4. Wow. So there's no 4 here. This is a 3, 5. The 5 comes out of both of those. This is 3, 4, 6. The 4, 6 pair makes this the 5. So the 2 is pointing at a 5. The 9 isn't, but the 1 is pointing at a 5. The 5 is not. It's pointing at a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is bonkers. I still haven't resolved it. I need to do Rossini. So, it's not here. If this was 9-7, this would be valid because 9-7, this would be lower. 9-7 and then lower than it. So this is the 1, this is the 7. Takes the 1 out of there. 7 takes 7 out of there. The 4-6 pair makes that the 7. Hang on. The 5 makes that the 3, which makes that the 5 and that the 1. The 3 makes that the 4, that the 6, that the 3, which makes that the 4 and that the 6, which looks across making that the 4 and that the 6. The 5 looks down making that the 3 and that the 5, and that's the correct solution to the puzzle. 37 solves in just under a year. Got it. Conference of Psychics. Psycho Look-and-Say or Psychic Look-and-Say and Rossini. And my weak point was the Rossini. I think I did fine on the psychic stuff. Holy cow. I saw the 8 stuff immediately because I've set a lot of psychic puzzles and I've used that trick. Wow. That was maddeningly good. Thank you, Glum Hippo. I loved that puzzle. That was beautiful. I just hope this... I've had a few recordings that have not worked recently, and I pray this wasn't one of them because I don't want to have to record this again. That was great. That was absolutely great. Oh, wow. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you made it through this one, even if just as a watch, if you couldn't solve the puzzle. I loved this. This was joyous. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to go away and have a celebratory meal because it's dinner time. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, good luck with your solving.